tuned into Quick Charge, the high voltage podcast bringing you the top stories in electric vehicles and sustainable energy daily. And it's all powered by Electrek. Welcome to Quick Charge. It's January 27th, 2025, and I'm your host, Joe Boris. This is, of course, the longest January in the history of January, so thanks for keeping up with us. And the biggest news so far of the month is that Tesla has launched the new Model Y in North America and Europe. Tesla officially launched the newest version, an updated version of the most popular car in the entire world earlier this month. And the difference between China and North America is that Tesla is taking orders both for the original Model Y and the updated version at the same time. For the launch in North America and Europe, Tesla only added a new trim level on the Model Y configurator for a launch series new Model Y, which is the version unveiled in China earlier this month. Tesla estimates the new version will have 320 miles of range compared to 311 for the outgoing Model Y long range, the only version of the new Model Y launch series available. Moving on to other Tesla news, Tesla has a new self-driving computer retrofit, but it's not even for Hardware 3 cars. This is something that a well-known Tesla hacker spotted and posted to Reddit. There's a lot more information here, but basically it doesn't seem like it's going to work on the Hardware 3 cars and doesn't seem to be for Hardware 4 cars either. And this inspired Fred to write this article talking about how Tesla refuses to do the right thing about full self-driving transfers. This is an op-ed piece that goes into great detail about all the context behind the promises that were made to HW3 customers from the original Tesla Model 3 and Model Y who bought full self-driving and still don't have a product yet that they can use. Now, while the situation is looking dire for HW3 owners, this is again from Fred's article, Tesla owners have been asking the automaker for years to link the full self-driving software package to the owner rather than the car, meaning that if you upgrade your car to a new Tesla, you can transfer your full self-driving software package, which you paid $15,000 for, and Tesla never fully delivered to the new car. Fred writes that wouldn't cost Tesla anything since it's just a software package that it transfers to hardware that is standard on all cars. Yet Tesla has refused to do the right thing here. Musk was asked several times by Tesla owners about doing that and has refused. Instead, he devised a plan to use Tesla's own inability to deliver self-driving capability as a demand trigger. In the summer of 2023, Musk agreed to allow full self-driving transfers, but not because it was the right thing to do. Instead, Musk offered it as a one-time amnesty for a single quarter. Tesla used it to boost sales in that quarter. Tesla has ended up bringing back that incentive 4 more times when it needs to boost orders and close out a quarter strong, making Musk a liar for saying it would only be for a single quarter. By claiming it's only for this one time, Tesla is using it to create a false sense of urgency, trying to get people to upgrade instead of doing the right thing for its customers and offering everyone who bought FSD the ability to transfer until Tesla actually delivers on its promise. Look, there is a ton of stuff in there, relevant context and everything else in Fred's article. Definitely go read it. There's going to be a link to it in the show notes, and I definitely think you'll want to leave a comment regardless of how you feel about Elon. I think this is a customer service thing and a really easy way for Tesla to get a lot of goodwill with its remaining customers. Now, while we're talking about full self-driving and eyes-off ADAS systems, it's worth noting that Rivian is planning to roll out a hands-free system of its own later this year and an eyes-off level 3 ADAS system sometime in 2026. That's according to the folks at Rivian Forums. CEO RJ Scaron said during the event that a company plans to launch a hands-free ADAS later this year, 2025. Next year, Rivian will follow it up with an eyes-free system. The big question is, will current Rivian R1S and R1T owners gain access? That could depend on whether you drive a Gen 1 or Gen 2 model. All the Rivian models built through 2024 are considered Gen 1, while 2025 model years are considered Gen 2. Rivian introduced the second generation R1S and R1T last summer, and they were, quote, completely re-engineered with hundreds of hardware improvements, a fully redesigned software, and more. The upgrades included in this new in-house autonomy system, Rivian Autonomy Platform, powered by 11 cameras, 5 radars, and predictive AI. Now, of course, ADAS systems being what they are, a lot of automakers have them. A lot of automakers have infotainment systems too, but not a lot of customers seem to like any of them. But Rivian is different, and Rivian says that several automakers are knocking on their door for their EV technology. Rivian has already had several automakers reach out about potential supply deals for software and other EV technology, according to Rivian Chief Software Officer Wasim Ben Said. Its new partnership, multi-billion-dollar partnership with Volkswagen, has other OEMs knocking on the door. Presumably that would be Ford and Lincoln, who had a previously existing relationship with Rivian but backed out of it, and Mercedes-Benz as well, who has worked with Rivian on electric vans. That's all speculation, though, but I think it's probably pretty well-informed speculation. While we're talking about other vehicles competing with Tesla and Tesla offerings, we have to talk about the superchargers, and Kia's first-party Tesla adapters are now ready to ship out, but owners are going to have to wait for later this quarter until they can actually use them at Tesla superchargers. Another company that's on the waiting list for Tesla supercharger access is BMW, and a BMW i5 was spotted with native Tesla charging support in Utah, making it one of the first brands to switch its charge ports to the NACS standard. We've seen a lot of action in the NACS transition in the last few weeks, with several brands being added to Tesla Supercharger Coming Soon page. Separate announcements from VW and Honda, and of course, Hyundai shipping out its first third-party vehicles with native NACS support, which works great on superchargers, and Kia's native NACS EV6 is supposedly just around the corner as well. One of the brands added to the Coming Soon list was BMW, a brand whose NACS transition we haven't heard a whole lot about until recently. It announced in 2023 that NACS support was coming this year, and we know an adapter will be available when BMW gains access to the network. We may have seen the first physical indication of those future native NACS vehicles this weekend in Utah, with the BMW i5 spotted being driven and charged by BMW engineers. The pictures were taken by Reddit user RedditQ, who we followed up with. They mentioned that the vehicles all had various engineering equipment stuck to the dashboards. There were 3 development vehicles in total at the station, other than his in the middle of the shot above, and that the cars were using an adapter to charge. The engineer said they were testing the NACS port. Interestingly enough, this charging station doesn't have native NACS charging heads, only CCS and CHAdeMO. So the engineers were using a CCS to NACS adapter to charge the BMWs. Now, finally, we like to end these talking about sustainability, talking about the grid, talking about the environment, and it's worth noting here that no other energy source even came close to matching solar's rate of growth in 2024 by the numbers. Solar generation for the first 11 months of 2024 increased 26%, with new solar generating capacity added in November, the second highest monthly total ever reported. Solar became 81% of all new electrical capacity during the first 11 months of 2024 and 98.6% of new capacity in November alone. That's according to FERC's latest energy infrastructure update, and you'll be able to read that report in the show notes. That report shows that in November alone, solar added 4,132 megawatts of power, representing 98.6% of all capacity added, making it the second largest ever monthly expansion behind only December 2023, when 4,900 megawatts were added. Moreover, November was the 15th month in a row that solar was the largest source of new utility scale generating capacity. Utility grade solar generating capacity has now reached 125 gigawatts, or 9.6% of the total installed capacity by all sources. FERC's data does not include the capacity of small scale solar systems that account for roughly 30% of all solar capacity. New wind capacity year to date accounted for most of the balance through November. 2,800 megawatts and another 248 megawatts were produced by hydropower, geothermal, and biomass. Thus, the mix of all renewables accounted for 1% of new capacity additions. That's all I've got for January 27th. This, again, being the longest January ever. I can't believe we made it this far, and there's still somehow 4 days to go. Be sure to like and subscribe, and maybe we'll make it into February together.